course, the first step in any election is making sure we get through registration deadline, getting all of those qualified voters registered to vote by election deadline. Now, we don't have same-day registration here in the state of Oregon, meaning on election day registration, but we do have a form of that. So if you're not registered to vote at all anywhere in the state of Oregon, your deadline to be registered is the 21st day before the election. Now, if you are currently registered in the state of Oregon, anywhere within the state, you have till 8 o'clock election night to update your registration with the Jackson County or wherever you might be within the state and still obtain a ballot, okay? So we don't have same-day registration, but we have a form of same-day registration, and that really helps our citizens. Say they had simply an address change and they forgot to notify us, or we got a ballot back in the last election undeliverable and they're in an inactive status. They're still qualified to vote. They just have to make sure they come into our office or give us notification early on in the election of that address change by submitting a new registration card online or in person. And we can get them a ballot right then and there, as long as they take care of that before 8 o'clock election night. So first step is, of course, getting through registration deadline, because, of course, that's a huge, important part of getting those ballots issued. Registration deadline is usually right prior for us getting our ballots mailed out, within 4 or 5 days of mandatory having to get those ballots out. So what we're doing is we're in this mad rush. That's why we ask people not to wait till the last minute to register to vote. A lot of people do, and we're okay with that. We'll make sure and process those. But we really appreciate getting those early registrations done, because in that way we can get you in the original. Basically what we do is pull a report and we digitally send that to our vendor that makes sure that those ballot envelopes get the proper ballot style, depending on where you live in the county or in the city, to that voter. So of course the voter is going to get their ballot, and first thing you want to do is vote. Now, you do have till 8 o'clock election night to turn in that ballot, but of course, as an elections administrator, we love it when people can get those ballots voted early and get them mailed to us via the Postal Service, or they can drop those in one of our convenient drop sites located throughout the county. As well as they can bring it right to the elections office too, at 1101 West Main Street in Medford. If they have any questions about that, we always ask our voters to call us, because we can look up your registration and we can aid you better if you're calling us and letting us know if you have an issue or if you don't receive a ballot. So our first step, once ballots have gone out, is we're waiting for those ballots to come in. Say you get your ballot in, first thing we do is put those through our ballot sorter, which was purchased with HAVA funds, the Help America Vote Act funds, which were provided to each of the states back when implementation of the Help America Vote Act happened back around 2004. The sorter is taking place of us having to do it by hand. Then the digital image that is taken off the outer envelope is uploaded into our signature verification system, and then our staff is easily able to verify those ballots without even touching your ballot. Now, if you're one of those citizens that get a letter in the mail, and we send all of our people that get a signature challenge ballot a letter stating that you have till 10 days after the election to remedy that signature issue. Just because you get a letter, we're not picking on you. That is our test to prove out that you are the one who signed that envelope. We please ask you to respond to that. Again, you have that till 10 days after to respond to that letter. It could be simple as, we just need an updated signature on file, that your signature has changed enough, either through the aging process or you've just completely changed your signature. You may used to more printed in a bubble signature and now you've gotten more streamlined. We need that updated signature. That's 99% of our signature issues are we just need simply an updated signature. As well as the people who forget to sign their ballot envelope. They will also get a letter or postcard in the mail letting them know that they have till 10 days after the election to update that signature or to get us a signature. So keep in mind, there are remedies for 99.9% of all these issues that come to us. So basically, we'll move forward once your signature has been verified and the ballot goes through. Again, then we put it back through the sorter, and it actually gets resorted into fine precinct order or individual precinct order. 99% of those ballots are going to go through on the back side of the sorter and go through the process just fine into their individual precinct order. So once all those ballots are prepared, they're opened, the envelopes are opened, ready for our boards, which our election boards are those people that work in teams of two, mixed party affiliation. Never one party sits at a board table. They start taking them precinct at a time, meaning one board takes one precinct, and they start working on all those ballots within that precinct that are prepared for them. So our boards, what their whole process is to make sure that those ballots display voter intent. So in a mixed party affiliation board, they work as a team to verify that that voter's intent is upheld on that ballot. Now at that point, the ballot envelopes are completely separated from the ballots. They go away from the tables. All that's left now when they start looking at those ballots are the ballots themselves. So they can't take and say, oh, this is how Joe voted or Sally voted on this ballot, because the envelopes are completely separated at this point. Really important for our citizens to know that, because they have no idea who and how that person voted on that ballot. But what they're looking for is to make sure that voter intent is upheld when it actually goes through the tabulation equipment. So once they get through the process of looking at those ballots to make sure voter intent is upheld, we have all kinds of audits and logs that we log in, the actual number of ballots that they put through that pass. We log them into sheets, and then they're put into the tabulation room. We cannot start actually tabulating votes until 7 days ahead of the election. And that's by law, as long as our security plan is in place with the Secretary of State. At that point, we have people that what their job is to run those tabulators. We have people who have ran our equipment for us for years that come in every election and do this. With the new equipment, we only needed 2 of those 850s because of the efficiencies and the speed that they run. And basically, that's our process. Once your ballot goes through tabulation, they're logged in again as well, and then they are put in our secure vault for storage according to the mandatory retention cycle. And those are held onto for several years after general election before we can actually take and actually destroy those ballots. So once you've voted your ballot, let's say you're an early voter, or even if you're a late voter, you wait till election day. You can conveniently go to our website to see actual results starting at 8 o'clock election night. We actually will have the first release of results at 8 o'clock. And by law, we have to wait till 8 o'clock to release any of those results. You can go to our webpage at jacksoncounty.org, and you can actually pick up those results right on the elections webpage. And usually during an election, we actually have an icon right on the front of that webpage that people can just click on that little icon, and you can get the elections results that have been released in Jackson County. Now, if you're looking for statewide results, the OregonVotes.gov, which is the Secretary of State's website, will have all those updated, not only county results as well as statewide results, because we have to actually filter that information to them so that they can update their website as well. Also on that OregonVotes.gov, they have a section of My Vote, and you can actually check within a day or two of casting your ballot, meaning mailing it or sending it to us. Once we've gotten it through the signature verification process, you can actually see right on there the date that your ballot was accepted in our office, and if it was accepted or if it was not accepted. So that website's great. There's a lot of good information. I know that the Secretary of State's office is working on some more tools to help with that process, to maybe show you a flow of where your ballot is in the process. And I know that they are working on some of that new technology to help our citizens to be able to see a more transparent process as they move forward.